Alright, it's about that time again. We get into another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian, or another chapter of Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian. Semantics, now just playing the Semantics game. But before we begin, I want to point out something that was pointed out to me behind the scenes. In a previous episode, Brenna said that she was a lore keeper, and there were two other lore keepers she mentioned. Gulliver, who we've yet to meet or learn much about yet, though we know a little bit, and Bradford. And Bradford is the name of the main antagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh! Race for Ragnarok. So, yeah, their main bad guy's a lore keeper. Look out! And another thing is, we actually do see Gulliver at some point. Let's just say, rewatch the theme song. But I'm not gonna go into more spoilers than that. Make your own conclusions. I don't know how much of this is a spoiler. In fact, I probably don't even know if I should say that. In fact, I'll delete this entire thing. No more Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian. No. But yeah, last time we found out that Brenna's a lore keeper, so her crazy conspiracy theories, not all of them will be conspiracy theories. Some of them probably happened. She might be pulling one or two out of her ass just to fuck with the protagonist, but when you can do that, you do that, you know? This is worse than that time that Bigfoot took over the human race. But then humans wiped them out due to a disease thanks to a pixie that caused them to become the dominant species on Earth while Bigfoots are near extinct. I basically described SCP-1000. But, yeah, that's the main takeaway from the last episode. Oh, also the teacher woman that we're walking along with, yeah, she's a bad guy in disguise, due to, frick, I'm forgetting the name of it. Due to the bad woman's being one of her robot things and trying to make a better world and save humanity by destroying humanity, as you know. Or kind of hypocritical, but you know, oh no, the bad guy is doing bad things. The horror, the inhumanity. Why can't my bad people say good things all the time? Some people. Anyway, I just need to do one more thing before we begin, so I can get myself in the right brain state. Okay. Brenna, Issa, Brenna, Issa, Brenna, Issa, Brenna, Issa, Brenna, Issa, Brenna, Issa. Okay, I think I'm ready to begin now. Alright? Then we're gonna get into Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian, Chapter 4, Tomorrow Comes Today. I feel like I've heard that song once or twice, but I also can't remember it, so maybe it's one of those that was playing in the background of a radio or something. Anyway, the Passes are recovering from their trip through the swampland, all at a decent hotel. While their promises are made, secrets are revealed, and a battle looms overhead. Alright, also, Issa went into his robot state after a whole sniper incident, and, yeah, Brenna took care of that, thankfully. So, yeah, that problem's taken care of, we don't have to worry about the robot counterpart anymore. Well, for right now, anyway. He'll probably just pop out again sometime soon. You know how these things work. But anyway, the main takeaway is, we're out of the swamp at last! The swamp arc has come to an end. But yeah, anyway, disclaimer to those reacting to this. Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian does contain language, suggestive scenes, fighting action, tense situation, and themes that might be too mature for a younger audience. This is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Story, but also a mature one. Please keep in mind the tags atop the page, and please react at your own risk. Credits created by Obus Among Us, written by Spooky Electronics and Obus Among Us. Duel scripted by Alan TCG and Obus. Writing overseen by Spooky Electronics, Dusan Cookie Wolf, and Dealer in Faith. Characters by Obus and Spooky Wolf, and logo by Sovereign Jaden Kwan. And here's your nice little intro thing. It looks like we're going to be seeing some illusion monsters, should be fun. We got one of the Zeus Killer, as I like to call it. Also, we got to see more sides to our characters, mostly the one that I've been consistently referring to as a slut. There's a lot more to her than meets the eye. Not gonna stop me from calling her a slut, though. But that's when it's appropriate. But yeah, nice to see the whole cast of characters again, and look, no swamp to be seen for now. And then they walk outside. Look, welcome to the swamp-themed hotel room. Son of a... Alright. That's enough of lollygagging. Into the main story. Myerside Town, hotel lobby. It has been a day and a half since the ambush in the swamp. The Passes were able to convince Maribel to get them a hotel room to stay in. Rumors are that a few dual spirits adjacent threats were involved, but who's to say for sure? As the Passes piled into the lobby, Issa was still a bit groggy from when Mercury hijacked his body. Ugh, he groaned, ice pack against his head. Are you guys sure that Mercury didn't go too crazy while I was out there? Duel nodded over-exaggeratingly, trying not to worry him. No, that's all. Not at all, Issa. Issa moved the ice pick from his head to his left forearm. Regardless, I'm a little surprised that Mirabelle was able to get us rooms, given that we're, convicts? Brenna chimed in, head hovering over her brother's shoulder. Mirabelle turned around, having just finished dealing with the receptionist. Good news, everyone! I was able to explain to the receptionist that you were all on parole, and that I was your parole officer. So I got a few rooms for us. What really happened? I have an infinite supply of... Oh, wait, no, I was about to say booze, but it's coffee. Well, actually, you know what? Some people would probably be like, here's a coffee. Do this for me. Okay. It might not work as well as booze, but it would probably still work pretty damn well. Heck, some people are non-alcoholic, so it might actually work better than somebody. I'm overthinking this. Anyway, she threw 2 sets of keys, one of which Doyle caught, not nearly before dropping them. Not at all. Not a talking about. The other was caught by Brenna, who initially missed, but not before leaping into the air and grabbing them with her teeth. She turned around and with an ear-to-ear smile on full display. So she freaking like a freaking frisbee. The boys have one room to themselves, while the ladies will share the other, Mirabelle explained, spinning her own set of keys. I will be having my own room as well. Now, I want all of you to be on your best behaviors. We need to pray that our little incident in the swamp is the only speed bump we experience. Any questions? Calypso was the first to raise her hand. Is there a pool? I have been meaning to slip into something a little more... me, she said with a grin. Mirabelle let out a sigh exhale, seemingly having expected this. Yes, Calypso, there is a pool, out back. Towels are in the rooms. Superb, Calypso replied. We could all use our beauty sleep. What do you think, Campbell? She asked with a little smirk. She asked with a wink. I thought you said I wasn't your type. That doesn't mean you're above flirting with... Doyle looked her straight in the eyes, holding back a blush. Yes, Calypso, that would be most beneficial, yes. That earned him a scoff from Calypso, who was clearly unimpressed by his lack of reaction. Any other questions? Mirabelle asked. Ooh! Brenna yelled, hopping with each word. Is there free room service? She leaped again, but this time was much too high, and she came crashing down. So she's on a bed and just like a monkey, or just like crushing against the freaking... whatever. Mirabelle caught Brenna in her arms in a princess carry. Room service? Free? Yeah. Room service? Yes. Free? You wish. Brenna pouted upon hearing that, disappointment rising to her face. Mirabelle took note of that and shot Brenna a contented smile. Well, I could use my credit card. Just lent me a... I could use the credit card Justy lent me to pay for a few things. That led to a gasp from Brenna. Yay! Woo! She jolted, almost spilling out of Mirabelle's grip. Mirabelle shifted her balance to prevent Brenna from falling. The two caught each other's gaze. You alright? Mirabelle asked. Brenna shook her head a few times, eyes unmoving. Yippers, thanks, Mary. Wow, you're a lot stronger than... She then realized the mistake a few seconds later. Oh, wait, I didn't... No, Mary's fine, I suppose. Mirabelle said while looking at the floor. Mirabelle, why is your face turning red? Issa asked aloud. She was right. Mirabelle's face was sporting a bright blush. Gay! Not that there's anything wrong with that. She shook it off and promptly planted Brenna's feet on the floor. Right. You guys just have the rest of the day to yourselves. Enjoy yourselves. I join in, but I need to give Justy a status report. Doyle now had a query. How is Justy, by the way? Mirabelle seemed surprised by that question. Well, he's fine. Just wanted regular reports. He's off on some field work of his own, so my normal methods of reporting would go to nobody. She rummaged through her pockets and procured a phone. He gave me a burner to use. See? Issa eyed the phone cautiously. That thing looks old, like one of those brick phones from the 80s. Oh god, it's a flip! No! Well, see, it's been at Sulphur Grove. It's an old maximum security jail. Emphasis on old. You get the picture, Mirabelle reasoned. I'm counting that as your question, Issa. She quipped while pocketing the phone. Well, with all that out of the way, enjoy your night. The passes endured from there. each going off to their rooms. You know, they may be subsidized. They may be given money from the government, but the government likes to keep out-of-tech stuff up to date. Just like, yeah, you can still use that TV. Sure, it's from the 80s and has a giant back and is about 500 pounds, but it's not broken, so keep using it. This thing was back... Yeah, but this thing was back when television was first invented. Yeah, and it still works, so keep using it. Look, I know... I know it's not everything is up to date. You know, I know that Sister does the best they can, but at the end of the day, the government is the government. The government's gonna penny pinch where they can. Infinite... You want more war money? Sure! You want to help feed the homeless? Get out of here. We don't have the money for that. Suddenly our budget mysteriously ran out. Ugh. But anyway, I like the little bits of there bringing up the good excuse of just like, oh, I'm totally going to go and talk to Hitmoshi Might actually just got to keep that appearance up. I wonder if Justy knows. Well, it probably doesn't. I mean, otherwise there'd be more to it. He'd probably be more suspicious from never telling him in the first place. Or this is all set up from the beginning. Who knows? And good to bring back Justy and all that and have a little, you know, talking to each other. Those little bits. I don't know. Good to see the heroes talking to each other, I guess. And splitting them up into separate rooms makes sense given this. Anyway, each go off to separate rooms. Then we're going to start in the boys' room. As Doyo and Issa entered the room, they took in their surroundings. The room was functional. Not quite the Ritz. But also not a roach motel either. The room had two beds atop chipped wooden frames, as well as a dinky television set that looked right out of the 80s. Wood paneling adjoined the walls as an old air conditioner dripped condensation like molasses. The air had no smell, not a pungent one or a disgusting one. Just one of different air that was not used to. Doyle rushed over and collapsed onto the mattress. Ah, sweet, silky, smooth mattress. Oh, I missed you, he blissfully said. Issa was slower to approach, still reeling from the events of the previous day. Regardless, a smile crept upon his face. This place seems really well put together. No worry about bed bugs, right? I always thought bed bugs were a myth. No, they're real. They're very real. Like the boogeyman or the tooth fairy. Nope, real. Why is it the creepy stuff that's real, but the heartwarming stuff is like, I don't know, I made that shit up. Oy. Doyle looked at his white-haired friend with the dubious eyebrow raised. If Maribel got us that hookup, I don't think we need to worry about it. If Maribel got us this hookup, I don't think we need to worry that much. You especially. You hanging tough, man? No, not at all. Issa shouted as his facade collapsed. I lost control of my body for longer than ever, Doyle. He hopped up and began pacing the room. I've never been so scared, but everyone's treating me like a child. No, like I'm some sort of ticking time bomb that needs to be on ice. Doyle recoiled from the sudden frustration from him. Issa, please, Doyle, don't patronize me right now. Stop treating me like I'm a freak! Issa yelled, the hellish reverb of Mercury returning towards the end of that rant. He froze in place and covered his mouth. Even he was surprised. He sighed. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be lashing out at you. You're my friend, Issa rationalized, sighing as he slumped on the bed with his head on his hands. And it makes sense, given that he's always stuck in this body having to be treated with, like, baby hands, but people don't like being treated like they're freaking 5. Not even when they're 5. But I think he's got to deal with that forever, because, unfortunately for him, he is a ticking time bomb. It's just like, what if everyone knew the Hulk was the Hulk? Or, well, to be fair, they do in some continuities, but other ones just like, oh, yeah, sure, we'll beat the shit out of Bruce Banner. What's the worst that could... Oh, fuck. It's like every episode of the Incredible Hulk live-action show. Yeah, let's go beat this guy up. Hulk. Fuck! Where was I? Oh, yeah. Issa, none of us see you that way, a constant Doyle chimed in. You're you. Mercury is Mercury. We're all grown enough to understand that. Issa let out a disgruntled sigh. I know you all see it that way. I don't know. I can't. I don't know why I can't. Even after running it through my head, I just can't stop. As he saw his friend in anguish, Doyle got up and plopped down next to him, resting a reassuring hand on Issa's shoulder. Issa, you're an amazing person. I wish you saw yourself the way everyone else sees you. Me, Calypso, Mirabelle, your own sister, for goodness sakes. Issa looked up at Doyle and tried to crack a smile. It was a short-lived attempt, as it only helped for a moment. Doyle smiled once more. Think of all the people who love you and care about you, Issa. So many of us will stand by you no matter what. You really think so? Issa asked. I know so, Doyle reaffirmed. I'll need some time to process all of this, but I'll try. Thank you, Doyle, Issa said, smiling at him. Doyle gave Issa a pat on the shoulder. That does my heart good to hear. Issa pulled out his deck box and flipped through it until he reached number 69 in its forms. You know the crazy part? I'm still a bit fuzzy on how I got these. When Mercury first appeared, everything's just a blur. Have you had a peep from Mercury or anything? Doyle asked. No, not at all. The scariest part is that in all of this, I've never once talked to him. You know those shows on TV where they have You know those shows on TV that have it where they're like, when two personas are in one body, like two of them can talk to each other? Well, I guess that's not how Mercury works at all. The original Duel monsters were like that. Although, to be fair, Duel Monsters wasn't the first to do it. It was a thing before and after that. Doyle somberly looked at Issa. Then the words Mercury told Doyle surfaced. One cannot make it alone, Doyle muttered. What? One cannot make it alone. That's what Mercury told me after our duel. It makes sense. Remember, Mercury's only goal is to protect you. So much so that he's lost sight of multiple things in our duel. So much so that he's lost sight of multiple things in the two duels I've seen him in. But during that last duel, he wasn't acting right. He was almost acting robotic. Like someone ran him off a fresh install. A cold banter only come back when he dueled. Otherwise, it was like he came right off the set of Tron. Isha processed the new information. I see. He wasn't thinking straight. Right, I wonder. But did that bullet that sniper hit me with really do me? What did that bullet the sniper hit me with really do to me? Excuse me. I don't know, but the one thing I do know is that Mercury shouldn't act like that anymore. Well, maybe not fully pacifist run mode, but more rational, Doyle suggested with a shrug. Or Doyle guessed with a shrug. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. And, can I ask you for a favor, Doyle? Sure, what's up? Excuse me. The next time I get scared, tell Mercury that I forgave him. He couldn't help that he was affected by the bullet, and I know that he still can hijack my body. But he's kind of like a guardian angel in a way. He just needs guidance. Can you give him that? Doyle was taken slightly aback. I can absolutely try, Issa. But aren't you still scared a bit? Issa looked around a bit, processing Doyle's question. Yes, I'm still... a lot, actually. But at the same time, if Mercury can be given guidance, maybe he can help. I dread to think what would happen if we were in a pickle and Mercury wasn't there. You do make a decent point, Issa, Doyle said. Thank you. To be honest, I think we're already trying to make up for things. Why not include him? He said with a gentle smile. An imaginary light bulb lit over his head. Oh, I have an idea. Want to run all this by Mercury now? Issa, that would mean I know. I'm well aware of what I'm asking, but I think I'm ready, Doyle said with an inhale and exhale. Might as well rip the band-aid off. Scare or stress away, Doyle. This is very ballsy. I know we need to talk to Mercury, but it's still can we just leave him alone? Maybe let him be alone for this? I don't know. I mean, I know this is the ticking... Again, the problem is with the ticking time bomb is you need to defuse that bomb so that explosion is less effective. So this is very risky, but it's not like we have many other ideas. Worst case scenario... worst case scenario, he goes ballistic again and we have to put him down again. Well... You never know until you try. Doyle pondered how to do such a thing. Then he had his own imaginary light bulb light up. He pulled out a s'more from a freezer bag that they had brought with him. Hey, that's one of the s'mores Brenna made! Issa gasped. Doyle headed over the trash can and let it drop. not even a few inches below his hand, and an armored gauntlet had pinned it and the part of Doyo's hoodie to the wall. Don't fuck with the s'more! Well, you want an anxiety attack, I'm not gonna like punch you in the gut or something. I'm gonna make you think I'm gonna drop the s'more. Everyone has their favorites. You don't fuck with the favorites. Anyway, Mercury returned. Campbell, there had better be a good explanation for attempting to discard of Issa's favorite foodstuff. There you are. It's been a hot minute. Ah! Mercury's eyes flared up. Why would you Why would you upset him? Doyle yelped in fear. Because he wanted me to tell you something. Mercury froze for a second. State the message. He said he forgives you. Come again? All I'm thinking is of Calypso was in the room. Don't mind if I do. What? Not. Never mind. He wanted me to make you come out to let you know he forgives you for going haywire. He knows it was out of your control. Mercury unhandled Doyle while still feverishly clutching the s'more. I understand. He proceeded to take a seat at the bed while Doyle sat next to him. I do apologize if my methods are extreme, Campbell. My sole duty is to protect my user, no matter the cost. Doyle stared at the figure's eyes. All 6 of them. I get that, but you need to learn to rein it in a bit, man. Issa wants you to understand that you can't keep popping in at the slightest concern. You need to go a bit looser and let Issa handle some things himself. Like, this does seem excessive, no? He asked, pointing at the cracks of the wall that Mercury left behind. Yeah, sorry, I was reminded of the SpongeBob scene where frickin' the guy goes for a penny, Mr. Krabs just like, unhand that penny or the arm comes off. You almost tore someone's arm off for a penny. Thanks, Squidward. I knew I could count on you. This is more or less what happens. It's like you tried to choke my life out over a s'more. Ugh. Mercury's gaze drifted down upon the s'more in his hand. Duly noted. But why should I emerge at all, then? Because I think if someone's pointing a gun at Issa, yes, you may come out then. Like, there is a limit between... There is a line between you're trying to destroy my keeper's favorite food and Issa got shot. There's a middle ground somewhere between there, I feel. Because he needs you. We need you sometimes. Issa's biggest fear... What would happen to all of us if you weren't around? Mercury's eyes lit up in a circular pattern. Understood. I have logged these new parameters. I appreciate the clarification. Campbell, you have my gratitude. Doyle smiled and rubbed below his nose with his finger. I try. I shall take my leave. Until we meet again, Campbell, Mercury concluded, returning it to Issa with a flash of cyan light. Do you feel better, Issa? Issa looked around, then took a wholeheartedly bite of the s'more, remaining his fingers. After realizing how piggish he looked, he paused and then gulped down the rest of the treat. I feel lighter. I appreciate the help, Doyle. Doyle smiled at his friend. Anytime, Issa, he said, before pondering how to make the conversation change direction. Say, there's a pop-up card shop in the lobby. Do you want to head down there and scope up the shiny cardboard? Sure, I always love pursuing rank 4 monsters, Issa said with an ear-to-ear smile. The two made their way out, but not before passing the girls' room. But before that was a nice interaction. Just try to calm Mercury down a little bit and not come out of the slightest thing. A flight just farted in Africa. This means that Issa is in danger. Like, it was getting a bit extreme. Like, he came out like friggin' 3 friggin' times in the last chapter. Well, no, chapter 2, and then chapter 3 was Dueling Him, where he was basically there the entire chapter until the end. Like, he is making consistent forth. I'm not saying I don't like Mercury, but it's still like, this is getting a little spam happy. I don't know. We're going to try to calm it down. Calm Mercury down and give Issa a chance to have some confidence. And let's just hope that Issa doesn't get a paper cut. God forbid. It's a pop-up. Look, this card's a pop-up book. Eek! I am now in control again. Oh, come on. I'm sorry, but I know the pop-up cards, they're just like, we're here temporarily so we can get it, but first time I just like, pop-up book. No. I don't know. Are those still a thing? They're probably still a thing. I mean, no, they're not as big as they used to be, but They don't just stop making those things. Anyway, let's focus on the girls' room. I choose to skip this chapter because I'm a male and I cannot enter the girls' room. The hotel room had that kind of heat that you couldn't shake. Warm sunlight bleeding in through the half-shuttered blinds, bouncing off a cracked tile and an old flower wallpaper. The kind of place that had been once called luxury by someone with very low standards and very high hopes. This is luxury. This is luxury? Well, it's luxury by these standards. Brenna lay sprawled out on one of the two double beds, arms splayed like a starfish, the ceiling fan rotating with a very loud click every third spin. She hadn't moved in the last 10 minutes, unless you counted sighing. I'm telling you, man, every third spin, the clack gets louder. It's a freaking car thing with the lights. I hate the fact that that's not even accurate. That would have been such a great Easter egg to keep in, but I guess that proves that Fillmore has been having too much gas. You've been laying out the subs. You gotta lay out the substance. Anyway, then Calypso pushed the bathroom door open. Alright, she announced, towel clinched tightly around her chest. I need you to help me make a moral dubious decision. Brenna groaned without looking. This better not involve actual law breaking. Oh, absolutely not. Does this bikini make my butt look big? Calypso said, tossing a bundle of color onto the bed. It's fashion, she dramatically unfolded. 5 swimsuit options. You came here and your first instinct was, but what shall I wear? Ay. Drama queen! If I can't call her a slut, I gotta call her something. There has to be some insult involved, damn it! 5 swimsuit options and fawned them out like they were drawing her hand for a duel. I draw 5 swimsuits! Option 1, summer vacay. Classic blue and white stripes, flirty but innocent. Option 2, beach babe, gold sparkly, a little Vegas. Option 3, bikini, you can imagine. Option 4, dental floss. And 5, indecent exposure charge. I said no law breaking! I said indecent exposure. It's forget. I would have ruined the joke. It's not breaking the law, it's just frowned upon greatly. Close enough. Oh, absolutely not, Calypso said, tossing a bundle of color onto her other bed. Oh, sorry, I just read that line. Brenna rolled onto her other side, blinked at the selection, then squinted at Calypso. Why did you pack all of this? I didn't, Calypso replied smoothly, picking up the dental floss and holding it tightly up against the light. I always have these, just in case. So you didn't pack them, you had them. So how many layers of clothing are you wearing? Actually, probably best I don't ask that question. In case of what? You get invited to a pool party by Satan? Calypso gave a beautiful smile. A beatific smile. You get me, sugar. Brenna sat up, stretching, then pouted at the white and blue stripes. Summer vacay, classic, flattering, less likely to be banned from the hotel premises. Calypso raised an eyebrow. Coward's choice. Functional choice, Brenna said. Unless you want Doe to trip over a lounge chair and break his face again. Calypso paused. Noted. She took the other options aside and sat across from Brenna, turning one of the tiles around her finger. For a moment, the quiet started to settle in, but Brenna was watching her carefully. What? Calypso said. You didn't even blink. About the lorekeeper thing. Calypso tilted her head. You thought I'd freak out? I didn't think you'd take it like it was Tuesday. Calypso shrugged. You weren't lying. You were just being a little bit more honest. She leaned forward, elbows on her knees. And I actually appreciate that, even if I wish you told me sooner. Brenna stared at her for a beat, then smiled. You're a better friend than I thought. I know. Another pause. Not uncomfortable, just thoughtful. You and Issa aren't really related, are you? Calypso asked, like she saw the crossword clue. Nope. And he thinks you are? Yep. Calypso gave her a long, flat look. You ever gonna tell him? Brenna shrugged. Eventually. Not now. Not after these past few days. You should. I know. So that proves that Issa is not a lore keeper and there's no relation there, but there could still be a a pseudo-sibling relationship, just not in the weird way, just the friendship way. Well, the friendship way. We'll call it that. Anyway, Calypso nodded, but her expression lingered, a little too quiet for her usual self. She twirled the strap again. Brenna waited. Speaking of being honest, Calypso muttered. Though it's been weird. Brenna blinked. Oh? Since the swamp. Calypso glanced towards the window. He told me he had a crush. Said I was clever, funny, beautiful, the usual. Then he tried to pretend it didn't happen. Hasn't looked at me since. Maybe he's trying to be respectful. I like being looked at. He knows I liked being looked at. So I don't get why he's not looking at me. Why do I need to make him? Shove my girls in his... What do I need to do to make him? Shove my girls in his face? Drop something in front of him and bend over to pick it up? Grah, why is he making it so difficult? Men are normally so easy. Brenna smirked in realization. You like him? Calypso groaned her hands. I like the way he says dumb things and gets flustered and offers me snacks like they're peace treaties. I like that he stares at me like I'm the most incredible thing he's ever seen. And he looks at me in the eyes, Brenna. Even when I tell him to look elsewhere. She dropped her hands. And now he's not trying to! You could talk to him about your feelings. Ugh. You like him. Yes, and you're a little coffee. Yes, and you like the coffee addict. Brenna choked in the air hearing that. What do you... Don't think I didn't see the way you curled your... in the back. Don't think I didn't see the way you curled in her arms back at the lobby. The way you snuggled into her like at the campfire. You ain't exactly a spinning image of subtlety here. Oh, and not to mention, when did you snuggle her? You were practically... Not to mention, when you did snuggle her, you were practically purring like a kitten. Okay, I get it! Jeez! Why do you always have to go the extra mile, Callie? I am that extra mile. I invented the extra mile. I will continue to go the extra mile because playing is boring, sugar. Besides, I was just being truthful. You had to be a stupid big blush and everything. You had a stupid big blush and everything. Brenna groaned in defeat. You know, Brenny, you two are pretty close to activating a particular spell card back at the campfire. What card? Brenna asked, voice muffled by a pillow. She smushed her face into it to try and hide the blush. Calypso smirked. Oh, I don't know. Ritual Sanctuary? I can see it now. Meridian a cute little tux and you got a big poofy old gown. I can't be mad at that mental image, Brenna said, revealed a face from her pillow. I have expected to go, screw you! I'd be the one in the dress! So you admit it. Damn it! Calypso softly chuckled. I'm going to the pool. She stood, snatched the blue striped bikini and marched... snatched the blue striped bikini and marched towards the bathroom. Then stopped in the doorway, glanced back. Thanks for not making it weird. Brenna gave a lazy two-finger salute. I was expecting a one-finger salute. Wish I could say the same for you. Enjoy your moral ambiguity. Enjoy your moral ambiguity. I can say it in my head perfectly fine. Now I'm saying it loud. It's like enjoy your moral ambiguity. Ambiguity. I'm saying it in my head fine, but it's when it comes to my words. Ambiguity. Why am I having a list? Ambiguity. Enjoy your moral questionability, Queen. I don't know what happened. Ambiguous. So I can say that. Enjoy being morally ambiguous. Enjoy your moral ambiguity. Now I can say... I just need a second. I don't understand. I hope you enjoyed it at least, because I didn't. Anyway, I always do. She disappeared in the bathroom with the door swinging shut behind her, already humming to herself. The hum stifled into a whistle, then to something suspicious like show tune scales. Brenna flopped back under the bed and covered her eyes. God, they're so in love. It is funny in the sense of like, now that she's admitted that she was always treated as an item, Doyle is trying to do the right thing by not looking at her and not treating her like an item, which ironically is actually pissing her off more. Or maybe it's deliberately doing it. I can't say Doyle wouldn't be a troll like that, but it's still like, in an effort to be more respectful, he's being more disrespectful. I like being an item. The main takeaway, though, was he looked at me in my eyes. That was what ultimately tipped her over the edge, too. It just is like, well, I don't need to explain it to you. You get the picture. I don't like being treated as an item, but he looked at me in my eye. I like being treated as an item, but he looked me in the eyes. Says something. Brenda's up for the ultimate disappointment when she finds out the truth about Mirabelle, though. So that's gonna be fun to see. Ambiguousness. I wonder if it's my Bostonian accent kicking in. It's like ambiguity. Harvard Yard. Fuck it. I'm gonna be on this the entire chapter if I keep doing it. So I'm just gonna keep moving. If it's ambiguity, I'm gonna freaking do ambiguous. I sound like freaking darts at the end of the abridged Oikauku arc. Oikaukumala. It's such a weird word. Oikaukos. Anyway, at the pool, the hotel's pool was somehow still intact. Cracked tiles, yes. Fade umbrellas, sure. But the water was blue. The sun was out, and nobody was actively trying to kill them. A miracle, all things considered. Issa was already in the shallow end, floating up like a corpse. Mirabelle sat at the edge, legs is dangling in, sunglasses perched low. Doyle had his boots off, and his feet were in the water, nervously flipping a bottle cap between his fingers. Sometime since she last seen Calypso, Brenna arrived with a snack bag and a tired wave. "Alright," she said, showing a show of hands, who is actually here unwinding and who's to pretend they don't have to process trauma. I thought she was going to say, "Alright, show of hands, who's here because they want to be here and who wants to go Calypso?" Issa raised his hand without opening his eyes. Doyle hesitated. Mirabelle didn't flinch. "Cool," Brenna said, sitting down and popping open something vaguely crunchy. "Where's Callie?" As if summoned by name and dramatic timing. "Right here, sugar." "I ritual summon Calypso!" Calypso stepped through the broken sliding doors with an energy of a model who knew exactly where every shadow and sunbeam fell. She wore the blue and white striped bikini Brenna picked, hair damp and tousled just enough to look unintentional. She had a towel slung over her shoulder, oversized glasses, and the kind of walk that wasn't quite a strut, but absolutely had its own theme music. Yeah, and it goes "No Chance in Hell." Have you seen that walk? It is absolutely that walk. "You know you want me. I'm like the greatest thing since sliced bread. So what's this woman's gimmick? She can't sing. And nope, that's all you got." Look, it's that or you get a farting gimmick. I'll take can't sing, thank you. I'll take that. Issa blinked at her. "You look nice." Mirabelle said nothing. Her mouth twitched like she'd bitten something sour. Calypso smiled. "Thanks, I know." She tossed her towel aside and sauntered her poolside with a calculated ease, letting her hips sway with just the extra step. Then she crouched beside Doyle, who was doing his best impression of a man pertaining to Sorry, I'm gonna redo that. Who was doing his best impression of a man pretending to be really fascinated by water. "Hey," she said, nudging him with her shoulder. "Be honest with me, sugar. Do the tides look that good?" He glanced, froze, blinked, and then blinked again. Tried very hard not to stare at the tracts of land in front of his face. "They're symmetrical," he said, voice very slightly higher than usual. "Very even functional." "Functional," she grinned. That slow, dangerous, side-eyed grin. "Oh, Doily, I wear lip gloss that's more functional than this bikini." "Doily?" Doyle asked in surprise. Calypso blushed and cleared her throat. not wishing to comment. Mirabel let out a cough that might have just been a scoff. Lisa pretended not to hear any of it. Brenna choked on her drink a bit. Oh, in an effort not to look, they're actually looking more. The sad thing is about it, if you're looking in the water, you're getting a reflection. So he's seeing regardless. Oy. Calypso tilted her head. You used to stare. Doyle flushed. Yeah, I'm trying not to do so. I don't want to be weird, you know? I don't want to be weird like that, you know? Calypso Brenna mixed down the whole dramatic backstory thing, so she's not up to date. Oy. Calypso's smile faltered, just a hair. Then she reached out, gently, without teasing. She took his chin between her fingers, turning his face towards her. Doily, she said, voice low and even. You're hiding something. He met her gaze already. I already told you, but now you're acting like it's a crime. Well, I thought you said I wasn't your type. Playing that card back at her, like I did. He looked away. She let go. A look of pure terror and shock on her face. She's about to lose the greatest thing that ever happened to her by her own volition. I fucked up. I fucked up big time. No. Where's the undo button? Where's the undo button? For a second, she didn't say anything. She just stared at the ground, like her brim glitched. Like her performance slipped. Then, the dam holding back her feelings burst. Okay. Headphone warning. That was a damn lie, Doyle! I love you too! That stupid look you gave me before sent my heart fluttering! That stupidly adorable smile snatches my breath away like a burglar in the night every damn time I fantasize about making out with you as you hold me close. And, God, for sniper's sake! I thought of a sniper with a dual spirit who hurt you, damn near killed you! Doyle Sugar, I love you! As fast as this is, I'm glad we're not padding it out for like 9 seasons in order to get to this fucking point. Just the will they won't they is overdone as hell. Let's just people say it already. We can have it for a couple episodes, but let's cut to the chase at some point. Silence. Everyone froze. Callie turned red, like full body sunburnt level red. He made a strangled sound that might have been a gasp or a growl. Then she turned, yanked her towel off the chair, and bolted back towards the hotel. Not a strut, not a sachet, not even a dramatic exit. Just a flustered, furious Calypso muttering, "Damn it, damn it, damn it," under her breath as she disappeared through the doorway, one hand over her face. Brenna crunched loudly on her chip. Issa blinked. Doyle, having taken a few seconds to process this, shook his head fiercely from side to side. He yelled after Calypso, "Wait, Callie!" I'm sorry, I half expected it to go into the meme like, I think she might have been interested in me. You know, that thing is just like 30 years later, man realizes, wait a minute, she was flirting. Mirabel finally spoke as Doyle ran off. Called it! Issa and Brenna turned towards Mirabel, their eyebrows raised in intrigue. Everyone saw it coming. Still, it's like, the dam had to break eventually. It's like, you're putting out sign after sign after sign, and one wrong thing was all it was took. In a moment of passion or possibly denial or thinking maybe he wasn't interested, she said something that ultimately doomed her. At least it wasn't too late to take it all back. It had to be in the most egregious way probably not even had to be that way. Just, she didn't have to scream like that, but the dam had to break eventually. I don't know. Sometimes you can only pin it up for so long. Anyway, hotel hallway. Doyle frantically ran down the hall as a worn and weathered that certainly outlasted its glory years. The hall's old. He was mentally going through the room numbers as they came up. 160, 162, 164, there's 166, he thought. He skid to a halt, but could not fully cease his momentum. Doyle then tripped over a bit of carpet as a result, landing flat on his face. As he picked it, great, so that happened regardless. Thanks, thanks there, Brenna, you solved nothing. Although to be fair, she didn't predict that this would happen. She predicted it would be over a chair. Excuse me. As he picked himself up and rubbed his cheek, Doyle saw the door that was cracked open. He reached towards a knock, but was met with a familiar voice, albeit smaller than normal. "You can come in, sugar." As Doyle pressed against the door, as Doyle pushed the ajar door open, he saw something he never thought he would see in his lifetime. Calypso was sitting on the foot of the bed, still wearing the bikini, with a towel draped over her shoulders. Between her arm and the side was a big container of vanilla bean ice cream, surely gotten through less than legal means. It was already eaten, with a big scoop burrowed into its surface. Calypso looked meekly at Doyle, no longer charismatic or in control than usual. "Please don't judge me for this. It calms my nerves to see." Doyle looked at him with a concern on her face, while Callie noticed and blushed a bit. "Look, my abilities let me accelerate my metabolism, so that I don't gain any. I'm sorry, Calypso," Doyle replied, tears welling in his eyes. He slumped over next to her, sitting on the floor. "I took away the one thing that you always wanted, someone looking at you. It didn't feel right to stare when—" "Shut your yap, Doyle," Calypso shouted, raising her voice. "I'm the one who should apologize here. I led you astray and flat out hoodwinked you. I played hard to get. A little too hard. I suppose the fact of the matter is, you're exactly my type. That little outburst there, I meant every word. You hear?" Doyle sniffled a bit. "I guess we both messed up, huh?" he softly chuckled. Calypso cracked a smile of her own. "I suppose so, yeah." She looked over to Doyle, a softness in her eyes. "How about we call it even and forget the whole thing, Pumpkin?" Pumpkin? You know well what I meant, Doily," Calypso said with a full appreciation, accompanied by a small groan. She shook it off, stood up, and stretched. "You want to go back to the pool now?" "Sure," Doyle smiled. "Let's go in." He began to stand up, but rose a second too quickly. Doyle's head ended up bumping up against the underside of Calypso's chest. Oh, God damn it. Causing it to bounce. She jolted upward, blushing and buckling her knees in surprise. Her eyes widened. Oh my. Doyle's eyes rivaled Calypso's in terms of surprise. "Oh, I'm sorry, Calypso. I didn't mean to." No, it's fine." "Really?" Calypso said reassuringly. A few seconds passed of sheer awkward silence. Afterward, Calypso began to softly chuckle to herself. The chuckling became laughing. Doyle followed suit nervously. It's funny, ain't it?" Calypso asked. "Even when I do try to be serious, things like this always happen." "Well, I hope that..." Calypso asked. I hope that even throughout all of this, you're happy. You're really sweet, even when stuff like this, extra happens." Calypso harumphed. "Being sweet ain't the point, Doily. I want you to find me beautiful and sexy. I want you to look at me and melt. I want you to desire me, and I'm a little princess treasure. The 8th wonder of the world, even." Sorry, that's King Kong. Would it be Scrap Kong? I'm overthinking. She paused and realized how strong she was coming off. "I just want you to find me beautiful," she followed with a sulk as she fell to her knees. "But I do," Doyle blurted out. Calypso looked up in surprise. "You're the most radiant thing I've ever laid eyes on, Calypso, and I want you to be happy." Doyle's hand quickly shot up to his mouth, covering it. Calypso found this admission rather amusing. The bed sagged between them, the silence settling heavy with a hum of the busted air conditioner. Doyle shifted, meaning to lean back and break the quiet with something clever, only to misjudge the space. The shoulder clipped hers, sending him what seemed closer than intended. For half a second, his forehead brushed her collarbone before he jerked up again, muttering, "Heck, sorry. This is gonna keep happening. You realize that?" Calypso blinked at him, then let out the smallest laugh. Not the polished, pearly one she'd offered strange before, but something rawer. "You're hopeless, Doily." "Yeah," he muttered, settling back. "But at least I'm reliably hopeless. Gotta count for something." He could have gone for another quip, but he didn't. Not this time. He let the stillness linger, studying her properly in the lamplight. The towel clutched like armor, the shadows softening with her face. The way her vowel was dipped warmer than wasn't thinking about it. Finally, he said, quiet but certain, "You know, you don't always sound like this." Her brow furrowed. Meaning? Back at the Grove, even on the ride here, you were all prim, precise, the kind of voice you'd get in the seat of a talk show, but now, his eyes flicked to hers. Now you sound like southern and sharp, like there's a color in it, like you stopped trying to file yourself down smooth. Hey, I've noticed the more arms. I thought that was, I don't know, maybe it's the way I was playing more elegant, lady, so it can't be me. Why would it be me? Why am I giving myself that much credit? So, whatever. Moving on! Calypso's lips parted, but no words came at first. She looked away, her drawl curling softer than she admitted. They told me early on no one would take me seriously if I let it show. Unrefined, they called it. Said I'd sound more expensive if I ironed it out. So I did. I clipped my vowels, smoothed them over, talked like the world thought I was a goddess who ought to. Talk like the world thought a goddess ought to talk. And it worked. For a while. She drew her knees up, towel slipping a little before she tightened it again. But it weren't me. Not really. Just another pretty face hiding in the dirt so no one noticed. Doyle leaned forward, elbows on his knees, voice rough in the honesty. Well, I noticed. And for what it's worth, I like this better. The real you. The drawl, the dirt, all of it. Her head turned sharply towards him, eyes wide, and trying to decide if he was mocking her, but he wasn't. He wasn't smiling. You mean that? She asked, her voice low, stripped of performance. Yeah, Doyle's gaze with hers, steady despite the dust still flaking from his sleeves. I mean it. The air between them changed, not heavy, not tense, but open. Calypso's throat worked as she tried to swallow words that couldn't come. For once, she didn't hide behind the mask. She let him see her. After a giggle, she approached Doyle and hugged him. Just not how he expected. The hug resulted in him getting a face full of cleavage. Oh, Doily, you're sickeningly sweet. Sweeter than honey, and Calypso said with a genuine care. Doyle's buried face went as red as a tomato. Callie, did you mean to? He asked with a muffled voice. Yes, I did. Get comfy, dummy, Calypso replied with an ear-to-ear smile and a playful giggle. Ah, you slut. Nah, I can't say that even now. If that makes you happy, Callie, a Buffalo Doyle affirmed. Motorboats. Calypso chuckled. Count yourself lucky. You're the first man to have his head between my she-shells like this. A few seconds of silence passed. Doyle got his head out from Calypso's chest and sat down next to her. Some people have all the luck! Seconds turned into minutes. It was now nearing midnightfall. At this point, Doyle and Calypso were feasting on the remaining ice cream, their eyes locked in each other in awe. After eating a bite, it was Calypso who broke the silence. She snickered at Doyle. What's so funny? He asked. You got something on the tip of your nose, Pumpkin. He crossed his eyes to confirm. Guess I do, huh? He took his beanie off, preparing to wipe the ice cream off his face. Here, let me get that for you. She leaned over to get it, and clearly, intentionally overshot. She moved her head next to Doyley's, planning on it a kiss. She giggled and raised her hand raised to her hand to her mouth playfully. Oopsie daisy, she gleefully remarked. Duel.exe has stopped working. He rubbed his cheek as his face turned red as a molten lava. Calypso chuckled to herself at the sight. Hey, Doily, after we get up, and this is all said and done, would you like to... Doyle raised a brow. Well, we'd be out of the yard. Would you like to stick together? I can't imagine life without you now, honestly. Doyle's face lit up. I'd like that a lot, Calypso. Really, he chuckled to himself. The girl smiled back. Say, Doyle, does that mean... Before that could be finished, however, a glint of light in the distance caught Calypso's eyes. Bang! I was really hoping this wasn't happening because I was enjoying the story. I'm like, don't let there be a duel. Don't let there be bad guys. Unfortunately, law of storytelling means this can never last. At least they didn't have someone interrupt the kiss. They let that happen first. It wasn't on the lips, but it still happened. I'll give it that. We get that at least, damn it. Anyway, in an instant, an enhanced bullet zipped into the window and struck the floor between Doyle and Calypso. The two of them shot behind the bed, while Doyle generated a pair of bone and crystal dragon skull claws matching those of Momentalian Horn Dragon over his hands. He used his extra strength to flip the bed over, creating a shield for them. Callie peeked to the other side. She only knew one place those bullets could have come from. She looked at Doyle, and in perfect sync, they both shouted the words they hoped they would only need to say in jest. Sniper! Bang! Another shot ripped out, zipping past their heads. Calypso spoke up with a plan. Shug, look, I think now would be the best to play defense till we can pinpoint where he's firing these shots from. Okay, that makes two of us, Doyle concurred. He held the claws close to his head, and as he did so, their size began to increase dramatically, to almost twice their size. Get behind me, Callie. She nodded and got back to back with him. Here's the plan. You're gonna be our eyes. Help guide me out of the hallway. Oh, on it, Pumpkin. Shucks. You never told. Shucks, you never told. I never took you as a man with a plan. Doyle shot her a confident smile. I am a man of many surprises, like how I won Best Beanie at the Astropian Fair last summer. Bang! I'm a man with a plan when I have something to plan for. Another shot zipped by, striking Doyle's crystal claws. Only a minor impact. The two stared at the impact for a second in anticipation, followed by Doyle giving a scuffle from Calypso and from lack of focus. Right, yes. Sorry, babe. He nearly choked as the words came out. Even Calypso was taken. Right, sorry, babe. He almost choked as the words came out. Even Calypso had a look of pure surprise. She groaned. Doyle, as much as I love your silly words, I'd much appreciate getting out of here with both of our heads still on. So, as much as I hate to say it, save the flirting for later, okay, Shug? You know it's bad when Calypso is saying, no flirting. Yes, ma'am, the dork replied with a blush. He shook her head and got back into combat mode. Ready. Bang! Another shot struck the crystal claws. This time a visible crack appeared. With a nod, the two began walking out. As they did, the sniper fired round after round, each of which was answered by Doyle's crystalline claws. Crystalline? Crystalline? The crystal claws. As... Crystal fangs! I don't freaking know. As the rounds persisted, the integrity of the claws began to decline rapidly. The two finally reached the doorway, and Calypso whipped Doyle around the corner as his claws shattered from the damage. Meanwhile, at the pool was stilled a minute ago. Brenna had been kicking her legs in the shadow end, tossing out half-jokes about chlorine and conspiracies. Issa had been hunched in a chair nearby, arms wound tight around him, and Mirabelle scribbled notes on a damp scrap of paper, muttering equations under her breath. Then, silence. The neon signs outside flickered, buzzing like hornets. The air thickened, heavy and sharp, as if the whole room had been draped in static. Issa froze, his chest hitched and breath short, fingers digging into the armrest. Storm. His voice was small panic. It feels like before lightning strikes. Mirabelle's eyes cut to the pool. She adjusted her glasses, though her hands trembled. The water rippled. Concentric circle. Concretic? I'm an idiot. Circles spreading outwards, though no stone had been thrown. Concernic? I'm overthinking. Not just weather, she said quietly. Something's drawing in here. Calling it. Brenna tilted her head, her grin wider than it should have been. Ooh, that's not ominous at all. She slid out of the pool. Water dripped from her hair, eyes sparkling with so much delight. Come on, Mary! You can feel it too, right? Like there's air, like the air is holding its breath? The ceiling lights guttered. The hum of the air conditioning faltered, then died. There's air conditioning in a pool? Whatever. And then, thump. A sound beneath the silence. Deep, primal. Not footsteps, not thunder. Something heavier. Okay, who let out primal Groudon? God damn it! The creator of the land made the ground on which you stand. Points if you get that. Anyway, Issa clutched her chest, a low strangled sound escaping the throat. Guys, something's hit. The rest of the sentence was drowned under a roar that shook the room up to its very foundation. A sound vast and merciless, a storm-giving voice. The pool fountained upward, water thrashing as it tried to escape. This is so being added to our bill. Then the roof split. Concrete and steel rained down as a figure descended with the storm itself. Ajax. Oh, crap. His frame weathered in the crackling light, every breath radiating ozine. His shadow stretched long and monstrous against the walls. He landed in the wreckage, tiles spiderwebbing beneath his feet. Sparks danced across his shadows. Thunder rolled in his chest, and his eyes opened. And when his eyes opened, they pinned 3 of them in place. I hit the wrong button. Children of the betrayal! His voice shook the water into boiling ripples. Behold your judge! Steam rose through the aura around him with the pool hissing, twisting into a crown of vapor. Issa recoiled, trembling, his voice cracking. Mercury! Mirabelle is... Yeah, just like... Now! Of all times, when we need him most! Mercury, shut the fuck up! Freaking Hulk and Infinity War. Those like Hulk had an explanation of like, I'm scared of Thanos. Well, this one was getting an explanation of like, hey, hold back every once in a while, Mercury. Of all time to tell him that it had to be today! Anyway, Mirabelle's knuckle was tightened around her useless pen. Her eyes never left Ajax. Stay sharp. We're in deep. The storm god's gaze swept across them, and in the gaze there was no doubt. Judgment had arrived. Humans, he said, voice low and terrible. The world rots beneath you because of your weakness. Tonight, rot no more. Brenna shot to her feet. What the wait? What the wait? He didn't wait. His duel just flared, hologram streaking into being. Lightning arched from down the length of his arm and coiled into a colossal dragon. Made of storm cloud and fractured scales. Thunder Dragon Colossus. Its roar shaking at the windows. Issa stumbled backwards, eyes widening. What is happening? You are, Ajax answered. Ending. I'm surviving. Are you? I imagine this is part of Mirabelle's plan because if they're going to be in it, then this has to be one of those like we have to fight our own to convince them that our double agent is on their team. Because if we just leave Mirabelle out of this, well, they're gonna catch on. Plus, I imagine he'll probably save Mirabelle for last. That way, I don't actually have to kill him. Anyway, he slashed the car into place. A second monster materialized beside the first. A shadowed fiend weathered into a monochromic fire. Chaos Archfiend. Its claws carving sparks from the very air. Mirabelle scrambled behind a lounge chair. Okay, that's not a friendly embrace. Ajax's gaze swept the 3 of them. Pitiless. What the frick is pitiless? The planet festers because of your kind. Atlanteans will cleanse it. My mother's vision will be fulfilled. Brenna raised a hand in further gesture. Oh great! Another moron with a sword! Listen to yourself. This isn't silence, human! His voice cracked like a thunderclap. The Colossus lunged, sending a blast of electric wind across the deck. Wait, the deck like the deck of a ship or the deck of cards? Tiles shattered. The pool foamed, frothed into steam. Issa threw an arm across his face as the world went white. The pressure built in his eyes, a pounding heartbeat not his own. The water around him churned in sudden, unnatural spirals. He fell to his knees, clutching his temple. Clutching his temple! What the fuck is a pimple? Issa! Brenna shouted. The air shimmered for a blink. His reflection in the pool was not Issa at all. 6 eyes. For a second, the reflection in the pool, not Issa at all. 6 orange eyes. When he lifted his head again, Mercury stared through Issa's face. stared through Issa's face. Well, Mercury said, voice a metallic rasp under Issa's own. Finally awake. Ajax paused, only long enough to sneer. Another machine hiding in flesh. Fitting. What do you mean another? I've seen Dodd. I know Bullet well. I don't know. Mercury rose to full height. A predator's smile appeared, spreading. You want extinction, Atlantean? Let's see who ends first. Energy crackled between them. Two storms recognizing each other. Brenna stepped back, pulse hammering. Mirabelle crouched low beside her. Sunglasses knocked askew. Tell me this is part of someone's plan, she hissed. It's not, Brenna whispered, eyes locked on Ajax as the thing wearing Issa's skin. This is fucked up. Ajax lifted his arm. Your species ends tonight. Thunder Dragon Colossus roared. Chaos Archfiend's wings snapped open, and the pool's deck became a battlefield. Okay, so the pool's area is called a deck. I just want to be clear of that one. So they have a deck of cards and a deck of the pool. Just want to make that to be clear. This is kind of cool, though, just seeing him now it's Mercury saving the day and hopefully getting his first win. I really don't want that guy to become a jobber. And the weird fusion with Issa, I guess, just has helped that they're trying to bond a bit more. And like, I'm taking the first step, okay? We're trying here. We're trying to do it. Or maybe it's like he's trying to possess but also not possess. It's a weird fusion thing. But then again, given all the water surrounding the area, not a good place for metal. History shows us that. Anyway, at the hotel stairwell, roof access. The sniper's fire hadn't followed them into the stairwell, but Doyle and Calypso were still pressed shoulder to shoulder, adrenaline buzzing, the smell of cracked plaster in their noses. The stairwell light flickered above them, buzzing like an insect. Still think we can't just walk it off? Doyle asked, patting crystalline dust flaking from his shattered claws. Only if we walk fast, sugar, Calypso shot back, eyes scanning the shadows. Her voice carried its usual drawl, but her hands trembled against the railing. Those bullets aren't meant to scare us. They were meant to erase us. Then, CRANG! The whole stairwell shuddered, as the sound of steel beams splitting overhead. Dust settled from the ceiling. Doyle froze. That wasn't a gunshot. Nope, Calypso agreed, tightening the towel around her shoulders. That was something big. The next impact nearly knocked them off their feet. From somewhere above came the sound of a thunderclap wrapped in metal, followed by a roar that rattled the glass in its frames. They didn't have to say it out loud. The others were up there. The two bowled upwards, Doyle taking 3 steps at a time, Calypso close on her heels. The storm broke loose. Ajax surged forward, each step a thunderclap. Arcs of lightning trailed behind him like chains. His fist wreathed in crackling light came down into a hammer. It meant to shatter worlds. Mercury met it head on. Issa's frame blurred into the six-eyed phantom, his gauntlets gleaming into impossible sharpness. He caught Ajax's fist with both hands, and the impact detonated like a bomb tile. Tiles splitting rooftops, shuddering from under the force. For a heartbeat, neither yelped. Then Mercury twisted, a torque rippling across Ajax through Ajax's balance, and slammed him sideways in the pool's edge. The concrete crackled, water geysered. Steam hissed as the storm fire met chlorine. Ajax laughed through the impact, wild and exultant. Yes, that's it! Strike me, beast! Let the storms feast on your rage! Mercury's voice cut like razors, cold and absolute. I am no beast. I am judgment incarnate. His hand snapped, spearing through the air. Ajax's slate aside. Her strike splitting a steel beam and clutched clean up through. The storm god retaliated in kind. Wings of lightning flared from his back as he leapt skyward, bringing both fists down. Mercury braced too late. The blow crashed through him like rooftop tiles, half burying him in rubble. But Mercury didn't stay down long. He burst through the debris like a bullet, driving a knee into Ajax's chest, then chaining a strike into the jaw. Then snapped thunder sideways across the sky. Ajax staggered, but his grin only widened, blood mingling with ozone in his lip. They moved faster than sight. Mercury a blur of hatred. Ajax a whirlwind of wrath. Each strike sparkled shock waves, Every parry tore grooves into the rooftop. Neon lights shattered one by one. Glass rained around them like shards of frozen lightning. You know, given the bill we're going to get at the end of this thing, maybe we should have stayed in the swamp. Brenna leaned over. Brina! There, we got one in. Brenna leaned over the railing, eyes wide, maniac grin refusing to fade. This is beautiful. Mirabelle crouched low, watching like a teacher's sharp eye. Glass cracked from the stray debris. No, this isn't beautiful. It's suicide! Her gaze tracked every moment, lips pressed thin. She wasn't watching a fight. She was calculating. And then, impact. Ajax slammed Mercury into the ground with both hands, pinning him down. Lightning arched wild across the wreckage. Mercury thrashed the stick side, blazing crimson, claws gouging concrete as he strained to rise. That was the moment Doyle and Calypso burst through the roof access door, panting, dust clinging to them. What the heck? Doyle's words struck his throat, but before him it was not a duel, not a fight, but a cataclysm. Storm and shadows locked in apocalyptic struggle, the rooftop reduced to ruin around them. We are getting a straight superhero fight in a Yu-Gi-Oh show. I want you to know that. Well, Yu-Gi-Oh fan series, but still. I mean, technically, Dragon Warriors DLC 1 had a similar thing, but it's like, this is to next degree levels. Like, this is what happens when you give people superpowers. Calypso froze, towel hanging loose, eyes wide. Sugar, whatever this is, we're in the splash zone. Doyle swallowed, unsure whether to run forward or stay the hell away. Looks more like two wars, and we're standing in the middle. As if on cue, a figure strode from the wreckage, gold fire smoldering in her veins, half hair wild, eyes wide. Althea. The grin split ear to ear, every gesture too grand, too fevered. Yes, yes, my children! She flung her arms wide, her voice echoing like a sermon twisted into song. Do you feel it? The thunder that sings, the claws that tear. This is revelation. This is scripture made flesh. Her gaze snapped to Mirabelle, sharp and gleaming. And you, my little schoolmistress, you dare to stand at the pulpit of my gospel? You dare to measure my glory with numbers and chalk? Mirabelle rose, Judith sliding into place with a click. She streaked her chin, but her eyes didn't waver. Somebody has to keep score. The sermon turned into a slaughter. Oh boy. Althea threw her head back and laughed. The sound rowed her in her throat like broken glass. Then keep it, teacher. Write it in ink, carve it in stone, and for what comes next shall be sung in the bones of the earth. She raised her dual disc, light sparkling along its edges. Come then, let us write scripture in blood. Doyle muttered something out of the corner of his mouth. So, still think this was just a pool party? Calypso didn't answer. She was staring at Althea, towel slipped from her shoulders, eyes wide with something Doyle couldn't read. Fear, recognition, awe, maybe all three. And above them, lightning split the sky. You know, I was kind of dreading the duel, but it's also like, now we get to see Mirabelle have her first duel and Althea have one. I kind of thought she might be like Eve in the Arc 5 manga, where it's like, we're not fighting her until the very end. Nope. Incorrect. But hey, it's good to give Mirabelle her big time to shine. I kind of weird that it's going to be villain versus villain in a way, but who knows, maybe this is all planned or something like that. Or maybe I'm wrong and I misunderstood, who knows. Well, guess we'll see what happens. The odds are this is probably a plant, but again, they gotta make it look like Mirabelle is on the good guys team to do all this. The battle above is going to be interesting. It's just, I hope Mercury wins. Just, poor bastard needs a W. But we'll see what happens in that one. Turn 1, Althea's turn. Both have 8,000 life points. Allow me to make the first step of this experiment. I draw, Althea declared, her confidence permeated into the rooftops. I'll begin with a spell card, 1 day apiece. Now we both draw 1 card, but neither of us take damage until the end of your turn. An ironic card to be activated given where we are in this current setting. Mirabelle raised an eyebrow and drew. That seems like a rather unusual pick to slide into their deck willingly. The woman drew as she did. Althea's toothy grin extended. The two women drew as she did. Althea's toothy grin extended. Oh, Miss Delmar, the most unusual picks can yield the most splendid fruit. Behold, For since you have drawn a card, I shall call this creature to the field. Hekendes Gigas. Oh god. The Passless watched in complete horror as a blue three-eyed behemoth dripping with vicious ooze. Ugh! That thing is repulsive! Calypso shouted in disgust. If it breathes near me, I'm going to detonate every water molecule in its... Actually, nah, it'd be an insult to anatomy of... It'd be an insult to anatomy to call that a body. Mercury nodded in agreement as Doyle was holding in its ice cream with all his might, trying not to puke. Emergency connection to an actual duel monsters. I summon, try not to do the obvious ones. I summon Utopia, fuck it. Oh, wait, no, it has to be a water monster. I summon Levia Dragon Daedalus. Did you just... Oh, a monster full of water. Boom. What card did you activate? Card? Yeah. I may be shotgunning this a bit, but I know Hurricane's stealing his opponents and monsters. Too bad for them. I'm not gonna let that happen. Go! Ghost Murmur and Moonlit Chill, Mirabelle shouted as she slammed the card into the graveyard slot. Now your Gigas has its effects negated, and if it is to leave the field, you lose life points equal to its attack points. Althea had a momentary look of dismay on her face, but quickly shook it off. Very well, time for the backup plan. I activate Deception of the Sinful Spoils. Her sharp, toothy grin returned in full force. I now use its effect. By tributing Molchami Fuentes in my hand, I get to do nothing. I discard Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit to destroy your sinful spoils before it resolves. And since it's a continuous spell, it fizzles out. Althea shouted as her spell card shattered. Her confidence was shaken, but not fully. Well then, two hand traps, huh? Save it for the tournament scene. Luckily for me, I still have cards to play. Go! Ouija Temple! Wedju Temple! Hecka hands. Sinful spoils and now Millennium? Maribel pondered aloud. How many engines do you need, lady? Enough to drive this car over you! As Althea played her field spell, Mercury began to stir with a cyan flash and a stumble. Issa had returned. Something's off, he stayed unusually calm. What's on your mind that got you... What's on your mind that got you out of the armor? Doyle asked. It's just that... She's the big cult leader. But wouldn't her deck be a little bit more resistant to interactions like this? Issa asked. Calypso raised a finger from her chin. Makes a good point, you know. Something's a bit fishy. Brenna took note of this and offered 2 cents. Maybe it's Spates. The three others pondered into the possibility. Mirabelle noted this. You play like a student who's never been corrected for a For a leader of a cult, you have no discipline. Silence! Althea yelled. She continued. With my Temple's effect, I offer it as a vessel. I do this by placing Heraclitus Hecahan's Bruis from my hand into the spell and trap zone. Now I set a Millennium monster from my deck alongside it. I will choose Sengenjin Wakes from the Millennium. And then you can pay 2,000 life points from your own monster. And then you can pay 2,000 of your own life points to summon to the field, Mirabelle said. Althea did just that. Althea enthusiastically nodded. Yes, ma'am. And in doing so, I also get to add its friend, Golem that guards the Millennium treasures to my hand. Ah, it's like poetry in motion. I now place Golem into the spell and trap zone. And now it's time for some contact fusion. Contact fusion? Doyle asked in surprise. But Millennium doesn't have any fusions, right? That's right, Doyle confirmed. But she's not playing Millennium Fusion. She's playing Snake Eyes Doom Dragon! Oh god, takes the mask off. Takai! No! It's even a woman, too. Althea chanted as the Bruis and Golem in her spell trap zone burst into flames. A gigantic serpentine dragon emerged. But he won't be around for long because him and Zenjengen are going straight to the overlay network. IXC summon. Come forth, rank 8. The zombie vampire! Can I just take a moment to be like, if Issa's down here on the ground, who's fighting Ajax? Did they separate, or is like Ajax down for the count and they're just taking a break or something, or just like I don't know. It's just weird that Issa's maybe just be like, I'm gonna make a comment. Okay, I'm back now. Off we go. I don't know, that part kind of is flying over my head. Maybe they're separating just because he's wearing Issa's body. Weird. Maybe he's giving Maybe he's giving color commentary. Who fucking knows? It's like we may be fighting to the death, but doesn't mean I can't commentate on this duel. I don't know. Anyway, Duel saw the play and was surprisingly stoked. Ooh, so that's why people play the Millennium card sometimes. Thanks for letting me know, dude. He shouted as he and Issa exchanged a high five. Calypso facepalm. Are you boys I think your boys are a little too peppy for your own good sometimes. Now, Zombie Vampire will unleash her dominion by being an overlay unit. By using an overlay unit, Althea declared proudly. We both mill the top 5 cards of our decks. Then I can summon any of those monsters to my field. So let's see who's Zombie Vampire's newest familiar, shall we? Miro stoically nodded. She milled Emergency Teleport, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, Material Reactor Zepting, and Danger Tsukinoko. That was 4 cards, honey. I told you to mill 5. Meanwhile, Althea milled Yad Al Herachads, another Herachads Gigas, Herachads Tartus, and Mocharmi Puroli. Did I read that? No, sorry, it had to be in the top 4 cards of the deck. I'm sorry, I misread. I might be thinking of another card that said 5. Or maybe it's a Mandela effect. Anyway, Althea mowed over the choices. Then the Eureka moment hit. Why not your Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring? Looks like she's going to be betraying her sisters in the end. She smirked as the Ash Blossom was resurrected to her field. And now it's time for another contact fusion, this time with my Gigas and your Ash Blossom. Althea spread her arms wide as the ooze of Gigas and the stolen Ash Blossom writhed together, fusing into a mass of gnashing hands and howling faces. The air thickened, every shadow stretching long. These hands uncounted. With hands uncounted and mouths unclean, the stolen flesh and broken dreams from ash and rot, from greed and grief, I fusion summon Hecahan's Jaza! The creature burst forth a grotesque amalgam, too many teeth, and arms flailing and snapping in rhythm with Althea's laughter. And now for the coup de grace! Jaza will use its effect to search for another Hecahan's card. I'll take Ip at Hecahan. I'll take Ip AI Hecahan's. The monster negates. Got it. Althea smirked viciously as she set a card. With this face-down card, I end my turn. And during the end phase, Deceptive Sinful Soils reset itself onto my field. Your move, human. It's Mirabelle's turn. She's got 8,000, while Althea has 6,000 life points. Mirabelle cautiously drew for turn. Not very impressive, all things considered. All these cards for a single counter trap and a glorified marshmallow. Better keep cautious, but still put up a challenge, she thought to herself. I will not be doing too much for now. For now, I will simply normal summon Speedroid Takatamborg. The normal summon monster met with a cackle from Althea. That puny thing? Methinks you should lay off the bricks. As the others overheard Althea's cackling, Issa noticed something. Hey, wait, isn't Mirabelle nervous about this? Maybe even her brick can be pivotal in a duel. You never know. I have a friend who every time they bricks, they end up beating me. It's like, the worst they could ever do to me is brick. It's like, I got bad news. I bricked. Oh no, that's bad for me. Mirabelle shot Doyle a look, and after a few seconds, her lips curled upwards as her glasses reflected the glint of light. Indeed. Now I will build the overlay network. Overlay network engaged. Malicious engine of extermination. Take flight. The galaxy's dictator is online. Executing Xyz summon. Superstar Slayer Typhon! Everyone in the room was in awe of the giant mech. You had a card that strong this entire time? Calypso shouted. Mirabelle smirked. Strong is a way to put it. My power is without the mind to use it or hold it back. It's just useless noise. I will drill it into all my... I drill that into all my students. Power means nothing if it can't hit anyone. And it's quite the strength, and it's quiet strength that always is the strongest. There, 17 attempts later. Even Althea was in shock. Impressive, turning a dud draw into a magnificent machine. Go on then, get rid of my Jazza with its ability. Mirabelle pondered for a second, then said, "Enter battle phase. I'll have Typhon attack zombie vampire. No more familiars for him." Althea gritted her teeth as her exceed was destroyed. Putting him in defense mode was a perfect move on my part. It wouldn't matter. You had defense mode wouldn't matter. You had already activated 1 day apiece, so no damage would have done anyway. Unless Typhon does piercing, I'm misremembering. As was mine, Mirabelle returned. If I had used Typhon's ability, your counter trap would have activated and ripped my whole turn away. Felt that was fine for now. Pass to you, she said with full confidence. In other words, Mirabelle didn't take the bait. And it also prevented her from getting future setup, so that was a smart play on her end. It's Althea's turn. She's got 6,000 life points left to Mirabelle's 8,000. And now we will inflict damage again. Althea stated. My turn, Althea stated, confidence brimming once more. I will once again use Jaws' effect. This time we'll search for Hecahan's Tartarus. And speaking of Hecahan's, I have the deck's lovely little namesake right here. I activate Hecahan's. I send my set deception from the field to the graveyard when I play this, so I gain its additional effect. Now I add Hecahan's Ibel from my deck to my hand, and then I add I can also set Yadai Hecahan's as a bonus. Mirabelle eyed her hand as the duel's tempo shifted into Althea's favor. Typhon can cover me for monsters with big attack points, but I only have one other interruption for her. I just pray I play it at the right time. Althea flashed the monster that she just added, her grin as wide as ever. I now use the ability of my Ibel. By shuffling it back into the deck, I can summon a Hecahan's monster from my deck. Appear! Hecahan's Brewis! As Brewis hit the field, an old friend is here to visit him. Say hello to Ghost Murmur once again. Mirabelle stared as she calmly discarded a card. Class isn't over until I dismiss you, Althea. Nice line. This was met with a grimace from Althea. No matter. I play Hecahan's Tartarus. I will use its effect to summon my strongest monster. I've used the Brius on the field, the other one from my graveyard, as well as Gigas by banishing the latter two from the depths of the unnamed chasms, where no light may linger. From the abysmal hunger and the world's undoing, come forth, the end without end. Fusion summon, Hecahan Zeno! Mirabelle raised an eyebrow, asking herself, how is he? How is it going to out Typhon? She shook her head, continued. Ghost Murmur kicks in again, dealing damage equal to Brewis' attack points. In this Greek-themed deck we are challenging a Typhon. Kind of fitting. Now, battle phase. I will attack Typhon with Zeno. Unfortunately, due to Zeno's effect, your Typhon will remain intact. Mirabelle takes 500 damage, knocking her down to 7,500 life points. That ends my turn. Go on, Miss Delmar, Althea smirked. Althea has 3,200 life points left to Mirabelle's 7,500. It's Mirabelle's turn. Okay, this duel is getting stranger by the play, Mirabelle stated as she drew for turn. Why would someone as grand as you of all people make such odd plays? Althea's eyes darted around rapidly. I don't know what you're talking about. My deck is on its last legs. I've already hand-trapped you 3 times, lady. Mirabelle was fed up with the charade. Nothing does add up. Something doesn't add up here. Continue your turn, human. Whatever. I normally summon Materiactor Gigadra. I don't even know what her deck is. It's just a bunch of engines. It's a bunch of engines with no car. It's just that. What does your deck do? It counters yours. And no, that's all it does. I don't know. Then I'll use this effect by discarding a copy of Goblin Biker Grand Breakout. I can special summon Prima Materiactor from my deck. I then overlaid the two of them. Xyz summon rank 3 Goblin Biker Gabanoga. Gabonga. As Mirabel did this, Doyle mowed over his deck. So it's Goblin Bikers with Materia Reactors. Where's the synergy? Oh, you have no idea, sister. Literally no idea how obnoxious this can be. Especially if you don't know what you're facing. Hey. Brenna chimed in. Silly Doyle. Level 3 turbo decks are gonna level 3 turbo. Fair enough. They bridge into each other fairly easily from the looks of things, Doyle asked. Doyle noted. Then I use Gabonga's effect. Mirabel continued. On summon, I can add a goblin to my hand. I'll take Goblin Biker Doug Charger. Then by detaching one of Gabonga's materials, I can summon Doug. Doug Walker here. This will start a chain that goes like this. Doug has Chain Link 1 will add a Goblin Biker spell or trap, and Gabonga Chain Link 2 will attach your Hekahand Xeno as its overlay material. You talk about wanting to steal monsters? Give me yours. Althea was appalled. Get your filthy mitts off my Xeno! He's supposed to be stealing your monsters, you puny pawn! Sure, and your height isn't cop-out for being called puny yourself. Anywho, Doug adds its Goblin Biker Grand Cross to my hand. Now I enter my battle phase. Typhon, attack Jawza! But why? Althea asked in dismay. Jawza can't be destroyed. It's also in defense mode, Mirabel scoffed. Funny. For someone as familiar... He was in defense mode, but he declared an attack. I guess it's a Super Heavy Samurai sort of thing. For someone as familiar with engines as you, you're not too familiar with the good generics. Excuse me. You keep getting fishier by the minute. Enter main phase 2. I rebuild the overlay network with Gabonga. I overlay the heavens themselves. Divine Machine online. When all else fails, let judgment be cast upon the wicked. Storm coverage and lightning rends all evil. Executing Xyz summon. Divine Arsenal. Double A Zeus. Sky Thunder. Mirabel let out a small chuckle. How ironic. Two mortal enemies unite against you. Typhon and Zeus. Speaking of, the former effect will activate. Effect will be my next play. By attaching his soul material, I can bounce your Jawza back into your extra deck. Althea gnashed her teeth as her fusion was returned. With that, I set a card face down and pass to you, Mirabel said to conclude the turn. It's Althea's turn. She got 3,200 life points to Mirabel's 7,500. Althea drew for turn, her facade shattered and her true colors seeping out. Despite this, she still intended to see this duel through. Let's give my Ouija Temple another vessel, shall we? This time it'll be Nightmare Apprentice, and this will grant me another copy of Sungenjin. Now I'll pay 2,000 of my remaining life points to summon him and another copy of Golem. She's only got 1,200 life points left now. Mirabel scoffed. This reeks of depression. Like a student begging to have their grades increased. It's the sound of someone who's lost already. Most of them coming of someone like you. Reveal face down! Goblin Biker Grand Cross out! Sadly, we won't be seeing any more of my Materia Reactors, but my Doug Charger will end this by going out. And your Sungenjin will be going down to the base. Goes with him to the banishment. Thoughts of the basement. Althea fell to her hands. The cult leader had been bested, and it wasn't even close. Mirabel got a flash of her duel disc. Althea had passed turn. 1,200 to 7,500. As Mirabel proceeded to the battle phase, Althea stirred in curiosity. Mirabel and the passes peered over. Althea shot up, bursting out in maniac laughter. A single tear streaked down her cheek as she laughed. The passes recoiled at the sight. Issa jumped in Brenna's arms. Doyle quickly threw himself in front, and Calypso made a shooting motion as his arm. He made a shielding moment with his arms. Mirabel looked back at him, then clenched her fist. Enter battle phase! Typhon, put this woman out of her misery! And with one final blow, it was done. Mirabel wins. Althea's scream split into laughter as her body unraveled, fissures of golden light cackling across her skin, like flakes of stained glass. For a moment, she seemed to bask in it, arms outstretched at a zealot's silhouette against the storm. Then the light tore her apart. The passes watched her body tumble over the edge, her voice echoing long after she was swallowed by the dark. Ajax roared, his dragon lashing the heavens in fury. He staggered over the ledge, fist clenched, eyes wild. No! No! Mother! The voice carried like thunder. The storm all above bent towards the wrath, lightning painting from his form in broken flashes. And my thing is low on battery. Whoop. Can I turn this off? I can't. Okay. Into broken flashes. The passes braced, expecting vengeance, but Ajax did not strike. He stood there, trembling every muscle strain as though torn between slaughter and grief. Finally, with a voice raw and jagged, he spat down at them. This is not over. You will see her again. You will see her again, you insignificant human fuck! Then he vanished into the storm like a cracking of lightning, leaving only the scent of ozone and the sound of rain hissing against the concrete. Silence fell. Don't think that this is the end of her. This is a giant like, oh my god, they killed the Voa so early on. She got like 1,000 versions of herself. This is a setback. It is not the end of the world. That's sort of the thing when you got a villain who's like 1,000 clones of themselves. It's just like, they could lose every episode. It doesn't matter. They're just going to keep coming back. It's like the Vito brothers in Ben 10. It's like, yeah, they're dead, but there's like 5,000 clones out there. Even when they die, they don't die. You know? They'll be back. And miraculously, the clones will know all the same things the previous clones knew heroically. Whatever. Anyway, Mirabel's hand shook as she lowered her dual disc. Is it done? I think so, Doyle muttered, staring into the shadows below. What now? Calypso sighed. I think we should continue forth. Try and get into contact. Try to get to the contact. But I think we got the job done. Brenna raised her arms in the air. Woo! Great job, team! Meanwhile, at the Atheum Sanctum beneath Myre's Edge. The sanctum was a cathedral of living stone, veins of golden fire pulsing through its walls, the air thin with a heartbeat, not its own, each echo a drumbeat of something vast awakened. Ajax knelt the chamber's center, armor scorched, eyes downcast, his hands shook steel blade from the rooftop battle. He muttered prayers he had not spoken in years, the words fractured, bitter. I failed you, mother. I let them strike you down. His voice caught disgust crawling across his face. Then the pool before him rippled. Golden fire seared the ichor, and from the blaze she rose. Althea stepped forward, her body radiant, her face serene, and stricken with sorrow all at once. Her eyes glowed like a molten scripture. Golden fire framed in lashes, still damp with tears. She was not the woman who had fallen from the rooftop. She was not the mad prophet who had laughed at her own undoing. She was something more. Ajax bowed, tears cutting through the grim in his face. Mother, through the grime on his face. Mother, forgive me! She placed her hand upon his head. Light flared her touch, and the chamber bowed with her. Be still, my son. Her voice rang with the cadence of scripture, every word heavy as judgment rendered in lament. Thy sins are not thine own. The beast was not born of thee, but was forced upon thee. I lay hands upon thee, and I restore thee. No more beast, no more shame. Thou art Ajax. Thou art mine son. Ajax trembled. The storm in his chest broke into sobs, raw and violent. He clutched his wrist, pressing his forehead onto her palm. I remember all of it. What I said, what I did. I am disgusted with myself. Disgust is the seed of repentance, Althea whispered, her voice soft yet searing. It is proof thou art awake. Golden fire wrapped him, burning away the beast's lingering shadow. His armor gleamed as though reborn, his eyes no longer storm cloud, wild but clear, sharpened by grief when the light faded. Ajax rose, not a beast, not broken, but a knight once more. She looked upon him, her lips curved into a smile, both mournful and radiant. Her head turned slowly, as though pulled from some vast distance. Her voice came, no longer silken and lightning and lilting, but solemn, echoing her with old cadence. The rhythm of scripture itself. Mother I was, and yet that name is shroud and ash. What I am now, is judgment given flesh. She raised her arms, trembling as if the cosmos itself pressed upon them. Hear me, Ajax. Once I bestow mankind that with wonder, their fleeting lives, bright as candles in a storm, touched my heart. I sought to uplift them, to grant them a destiny unmarred by war, unmarred by war, unmarred by ruin. And lo, how did they repay such mercy? With scorn, with fear, with blades turned against me and mine. Her voice broke just for a moment, and she bowed her head. But it was not Duel, not Calypso, for they are me, my own breath. They are blameless. She looked skyward, jaw tightening, tears almost threatened to fall, though they would not. Nay, it was Brenna, the serpent in my garden, the deceiver who rewrote what was sacred, who turned my children's hearts against me. She hath taken from my flock, my family, my very soul, and for this I am betrayed. Her hand pressed against her chest, nails digging into her skin as though she could tear the grief free. Oh, Duel, Calypso, thou wert my jewels, my treasures, beyond all creation. Thou wert my jewels, my treasures, beyond all creation. Yet thy gaze is turned against me, thy hands raised in rebellion. Not thine own, but the lies whispered into the veins by that lore keeper. But the lies whispered into thy veins by that lore keeper. The sorrow in her tone hardened, tempered but like steel into fire. She lifted her hand high, fingers outstretched to the heavens. Then let it be written, and let it be done. Those who forsaketh me shall find no salvation. Brenna has stolen what has been holy. I did it again. She shall answer her crimes beneath the fury of judgment. For lo, heaven careth not, hell albeit not. I alone shall mere what justice remains. She stepped close to Ajax, hands seizing his shoulders with fervor, her eyes piercing into him, blazing with divine grief and wrath. Thou Ajax, thou art my last knight, my sole son. The only reason Athenian... No, sorry, I misread Athenian as Atlantean. Whoops. The only Athenian and truly of mine own blood. Thou shalt not waver. Thou shalt not forsake. That together we shall bring revelation. Together we shall rend asunder the deceiver's web and cleanse the world of her corruption. Dost thou swear it? Ajax swallowed hard, though her touch burned through her eyes, seemed to strip his very soul bare. He found himself nodding, breathless. I swear it upon my life, mother. Brenna will pay. Her lips curved, not into joy, but into the faintest smile of a saint-turned avenger. So it is vowed, so it is bond. She turned, then strided towards the great window. The stars above stretched endless, indifferent. She raised her voice, and it rang like a sermon across eternity. Hear me, ye heavens, forsaketh not my cry. Damned are the ones who betray me. Damned are the ones who lies. Paradise denied. Damnation defied. By my hands, justice shall arise. Her cloak swirled as she raised her arms to the cosmos, laughter breaking through, mournful yet radiant. Ajax watched in silence, torn between awe and sorrow, realizing with a chill that though she had called herself his mother, the woman who once bore that name had been burned away. She stood before him. What stood before him now was something else. A judge, a prophet, a revelation. Finish chapter 4. Notes. Lots of twisty turns, man. Several questions, but very few answers. Welcome to Kingdom Hearts. And even more questions from said answers. We hope you'll show tuned in for more Meridian. That being said, for the time being, the series will be put on hiatus. I plan to I plan to begin production for the audio drama for this series, which will be released on YouTube soon. Hope to see you there. In the meantime, here's another character profile. Issa Argentes, age 20, born circa 2001. Being a lore keeper, we don't know how accurate that is. But, oh, yeah, no, sorry. I'm getting Mirabelle and Issa mixed up. Apologies, not Mirabelle and Issa. I'm getting Brenna and Issa mixed up. Sorry, yeah, no. Issa, it was born 20 years ago. That one's accurate, yeah. Deck, Heroic Ryzeal. Dual Spirit, number 69, Heraldry Crest, and its forms. Favorite monster, Heroic Beast, Stad Whale. Ace monster, Ryzeal Detonator. Boss monster, number 69, Heraldry Crest, Shatter Stream. Penultimate monster, number 69, Heraldry Crest of Horror. Oh, sorry, that would be number C69. That was my mistake. Ultimate monster, number 69, Heraldry Crest, Dark Matter Demolition. Height, 5'6". Favorite music, George Michael's and the Beasties. Favorite movie, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Favorite food, s'mores. As if you couldn't tell from this chapter. Monty Python, good pick. So, well, that's a safe pick, but hey, you know what? Sometimes the generic pick is the generic one for a reason. I mean, how many freaking Star Wars lists have you seen where it's like, what's the best movie? Empire. Like 99% of the time. Maybe it's A New Hope, but 99% of the time, Empire. Look, sometimes facts are just facts. Anyway, yeah, that was a really damn good chapter. A lot of shit happened in this. There's so much stuff going on. I guess we can get the bikini and a gacha. Be what it is. Why am I looking for that? Whatever. Anyway, so much shit happened in this one. It was insane how much happened. Like, we got the freaking Duel, we got the new one with the new ship, which would be Brenna and Mirabelle, which that's going to be an interesting ship going forward. The Crazy Conspiracy Nut and Cold Hard Facts. Issa doesn't have anyone to simp for. Mercury is always an option, though. And Doyle and Calypso finally confess their feelings to each other, which, granted, you could say, hey, 4 chapters, that's not so bad amount of time. Yeah, but the time in between chapters. But hey, at least we didn't make you wait freaking the entire book or something like that. Just give to say 3 simple words. Then again, those 3 simple words are some of the most impactful in all of human history. Go fuck yourself. No, I love that clip. Yeah, but no, those 3 words hold a lot of power. But the duel itself was a surprising curb stomp, to be perfectly honest. Like, I know they were going along with it, but I thought they would at least show off Althea being of more power. Like, I guess this was supposed to be like her new stage, not just like the conspiracy crazy lady to, oh no, I am just going to kill you. That's it. Like, I wonder where the bullets thing came from. I don't think that's related to the storm, but I guess it was the sniper back, but that's the case maybe, but I don't know. That one's a bit more confusing. It's just like a sniper fire, but maybe it was just the cracking of thunder and they had it all wrong. I don't know about that one. Maybe they misinterpreted what the sound was, but anyway. I guess it does make sense as it goes from, oh, I'm plain old fucknuts to, no, I'm going to execute you. That's it. It's just cold, raw facts. Like, she's gone so crazy. She's so angry, she's gone full circle and became sane again. It's one of those things, you know? or maybe just like, I don't think my villain should be Diet Gyro. So let's do something a little different. I don't know, but she has so many clones of herself, she could just do that, but not the end of the world. I'm just gonna move my mouse there. There we go. But I'll move it fully off screen. Oops, not there. I didn't want to exit out by accident. But, yeah, that was a lot in one chapter. It was impressive to see how much was going on. A lot happened, and yet at the same time, it felt like more compact when you simplify. Because if I wanted to tell you what happened in this chapter in slow turns, Doyle and Calypso tied the knot. There's going to be a new one in Brenna and Maribel. Issa got into better terms with Mercury, and Althea attacked with Ajax, but they were ultimately defeated. Also, there was a superhero battle. Don't worry about that, though. So you can simplify it in simple terms, but man, it was a lot of stuff going on. But it was great to see the character interactions. Some things finally pay off. More questions being raised in the future. And what's going on with Althea more? I guess we'll have to wait and see what comes next. I wish the girl's a blonde. This is kind of a surprising color to me, but maybe that's just me. Who knows? I don't know. It is interesting to see what comes next and see just Issa try to get into better terms with Mercury, especially after this. Mirabelle is going to be... Brenna and Mirabelle's actually going to reveal twist when Mirabelle finally reveals her true colors. But time will tell that tale, I guess. As for... and everything else should be interesting too, especially with well, now that the secret's out with Brenna, that now they have to know, now they know the truth about her. Everyone just seems to be going with it perfectly fine. Like, yeah, but you're still our crazy conspiracy nut friend, right? I do know it. Okay, sounds good. They roll with it pretty easy, but I guess I can just do that. They got so much stuff to worry about. They want to worry about everything. It's also interesting about what Althea said about Calypso and Doyle being her stolen one. So maybe she's a little crazy on that one, or maybe there's some truth to it behind that. Questions and questions. Here's when they'd be like, I am more worried about those two. Not the one that kicked your ass and really shut you out of the game, right? Though she's fine, right? Makes perfect sense to me, but whatever. She's a secret double agent, so meh. I'm sure they'll tell me if I missed anything in the next chapter, and I'll worry about that one next time. But for right now, I think you more than earned your break, Ob and Spooky, and I'm looking forward to the audio drama when it comes out. But take your time, of course. So, yeah. Awesome stuff that I'm glad I checked out. It's great to see that freaking knot finally tied and so much going on. And it was a great episode full of payoffs. It was long, but it was worth the read. So, now this chapter should have ended. Here's the bill. Fuck! Don't worry about that next one. But until that time, I hope this place is insured. I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see all of you next time. Later.